Right, we've got a special guest dragged in here now.
Yeah, a familiar voice to Manx Radio, and at this year's Cooish, it was felt appropriate to give an award to this young man who's doing a lot for the Manx language at the moment, and basically the Jeban committee. Jeban is the word for a net or a mesh, so a network, I suppose. Which is basically involves people from across the Manx language field in the island. Jeban decided this year to award for the first time a new award called the Londeyr. Now Londeyr means a lantern, and I could tell you a terrible joke that Bernard Kane used to say about this lantern, but I won't. But anyway, Londeyr, a lantern, which is basically a sort of a beacon or a lantern, or a shining light. So we have a shining light with us, a Londeyr, and it's mainly because of his use of Manx in reading the news. Now, I know a lot of people have concerns about, why, if you're using a bit of Manx, you've got to translate it. And yet, the same people would be quite happy to say, I live in Ballabeg, or I'm going to Ballacalferric, or whatever it might be, which are Manx words. You don't have to translate that Manx word to know what you mean by Ballabeg. So it's great that, and I'll announce the name, Dollin Mercer from the Manx Radio News team has been using basically I could ask him to say it himself at the start of his news bulletins. You would say,
Morramai, Mish, Dollin Mercer.
Exactly. and it's just, one word, Mish, doesn't seem like an awful lot, and what are these Manxies making the fuss about? But if you remember, 20, 30 years ago, Brian Ray started, when he was doing the weather, saying Morramai and Fastamai, and from him being the sole voice on the radio using Morramai and Fastamai, we've moved on now 20 or 30 years later to a lot of people now using it. It's a very common thing to do. So it's great that Dolan is doing this. And as I say, the Jeban, which is made up of Cheshire Gilgach, the Manx Gaelic Society, Munja Vega, the Department of Education, Culture Vannon, and probably several others that I ought to remember and can't just at the moment, have all decided that Dolan, for his use of Manx, is deserving of the 2018 Londeyr Award.
The first name on it, Dolan. Congratulations there.
Thank you. Yeah, Gromai.
Of course, Mish Dollin Mercer, I am, isn't it? As simple as that.
Yeah. I think at first I didn't really think a great deal of it. It was more, I felt it'd be nice to include a couple of fairly token words just to give a bit of a personal or personable, perhaps, input into my news reading. I'm not suggesting it was like a throwaway thing, but didn't really think a great deal of it, I suppose. But of course, I think when I was listening to Nicola Toombs speak on Women Today on Thursday ahead of the Cooish, she sort of summed it up for me quite well, and that little bits, being dripped in makes it normalised again, and I think that's the bit that's that's important, and the reason I've continued to do it is, people notice without realising perhaps, and it sinks in that way. So.
Yeah, but when it first came in, I suppose that people weren't used to it, and I suppose you did get the sort of Mish. Is it Mrs. or what is it?
Yeah, it summed it up. I went to the pub it was, and just one of my friends who's complete non-Manx speaker sort of said, why have you been introducing yourself as Miss Dollin Mercer? Which and she wasn't alone, but I suppose if you don't know, it does sound slightly odd, but it's fairly self-explanatory what it means in its context, and the fact that people are teasing me about it means they've noticed and it's stuck, so it's worked.